Welcome. Tonight we're gonna have a chat with King Atterberry. What's going on, King?
Ain't nothing, man. Everything cool. You know what I'm saying?
Hey
Just
man.
busting a couple of moves out, man.
Okay, okay.
Got a few projects on the
So
way.
it's been a while. We haven't really done an interview with you in a while. So what's been going on?
Um, I hit my target, back in February. So I completed 30 books of poetry in a time span of 6.5 years. So got
Wow.
that project out the way.
Wow. 30 books of poetry in 6.5 years. I mean, what would you say you've learned the most about being an author and basically setting that type of high of a goal for yourself to write that many poetry books.
Well, it was never really a goal to write that many. I feel like when you have the passion to write, me, I go off spirit. So whatever's going on in life, my spirit goes into the activation mode. Whether it's you continually write poetry or you just situate yourself and say, you know what, I'm gonna put another book out. It makes makes yourself feel good, you know. But I never knew that it hit me like that. Well, putting out and publishing so many books in one year. You know, this past year I put out 8 books. So it's like you discipline yourself and you stay in your own thing, your own bag. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
what it said, the discipline.
So the always question when we used to do the poetry corner is where you see it going. Like, okay, you accomplished this goal. Okay, now did you ever think about writing a short film based off of poetry?
I had that written down on my board. Like I would really like to, follow up on a platform and walk down that street and speak about a man and his journey. You know what I mean? Like from going from point A to point B. You know what I mean? About poetry. What did it take you to get there? How did you reintroduce yourself into poetry? I used to rap back in the day, so I never thought that I'd be in this poetry world like this and whatnot. But it's fun, you know what I'm saying? And it's exciting, man. You look at things in the world and you just write about the stuff. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you, with that 6.5 years, we know we're doing the poetry corner, the show from before. Like you saw poetry, more performance poetry, live performance, and then you saw a lot of virtual shows like we was doing, and then now, basically because the world has opened back up fully, we're two
Right.
3 years away from being closed down. How do you see the transition change? Has it really helped in the poetry circles that we had to be on punishment, or it made people sharpen up their
Uh,
pen more? What do you think?
I believe it allows people to sharpen their pen because that was the experience for me. I felt like I got better over time. I mean, since we started the show back in 2020 to like even 2023, that you just say you sharpen your skill set. It's like you being a cook. You know what I mean? You feel like you the a lot of chefs they feel like they the man or they the woman or whatever. But you go against one, you're like, oh, the techniques of writing. You know what I mean? So
I know
that's what I see.
a lot of people feel like poetry is cliquish. I don't agree with the word cliquish. I will
Right.
say from what I experienced, working with you with the poetry corner was poetry is more regional
Mhm.
instead of cliquish. How do you think it is? Because I know you dealt with people up north, mid America, West Coast, South, other countries.
Basically, you have to deal with like-minded people a lot of times. That you're on the same course. It's all about networking. It's all about all of us banding together in this one community and just keep the train moving. But what you have to be careful of people's agenda. I mean, one offset agenda can stop the whole, cut the wheels on the tracks. You know what I mean? So
I know I had shared with you before. Sometimes people don't realize that poetry has different genres. What
right.
would you consider your favorite genre that, if you step into, as we would say, a cipher, and they on that genre, you'll be like, oh, I'm right at home. Like, let's go. Like, it'll make you feel comfortable even amongst. Sometimes, you're with other poets, but you're not familiar with them and
Yeah.
how they with their cadence and stuff like that. So, what genre could they be doing, and you'll just be like, oh, I'm the lettuce on this sandwich. I'm gonna just join right in.
I would say everything is a vibe, though. You know what I mean? Because I can write in any genre, but I like doing conscious pieces mixed with a little element of rough around the edges a little bit. Because I know I can, when it comes to conscious pieces, sometimes I like to be a little aggressive with it. That's just because of the city background. So it's a reflection thing. But I don't really go with the slam poetry. You know, it's I can go there, but it's not a comfortability for me. So if I would pick a genre, it would be have to be like conscious, um, romantic, romanticized poetry. I've stepped into that element. So I like freedom of expression.
What's the difference between romantic and erotic?
Erotic is when you get kind of deep down and dirty. You know what I mean? You very explicit. You know what I mean? I feel like romanticizing poetry, you could be sensual, be gentle, be kind, gesturous, and it's thoughtful, mindful and
It's like
thoughtful.
it's like
You know what I'm
it's like
saying? To
listening to
get
R
somebody
and B,
that,
like listen to R&B and then BET uncut back in the day.
yeah, yeah, basically. Because some people have no boundaries. Now, I've heard erotic poetry in a different element, but some people can go out there like way out the box.
Yeah.
I'll give you, for instance, we had a show one time, you know what I mean? And we did the erotic, and someone inboxed me and was like, "Oh, King, I didn't know you be right there with it. I don't really like how that explicit wasn't criticizing, but they were just saying like that's that's not that's not true. You know what I mean? So sometimes it can have somebody look at your character. But I mean, I know it's freedom of speech, but maybe some people don't care. But you know, I want to be known for that guy that can just touch the world in different ways and not be all like looking crazy out here. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
deal with the sensual poetry. You know what I mean? Like the romanticizing type stuff. You know what I mean?
Speaking of that, I know I had basically became a supporter of poetry from doing the poetry corner. And I would voice to you about um I don't know what the genre is, like listening to like down poetry. And I would tell you, like, I don't know if it's energy, but sometimes I would hear some people's poems and literally get sad. So what type of genre would that be? It's like I'm in the car with you. You're taking me on
Like the
this ride. What'd you say?
heartfelt emotions, emotional poetry. I don't want to call it that, but it, uh, I, I really don't have no name for it.
Yeah,
But
because as a person that supports poetry, and I know
yeah,
that you never want to take away the art from the artist, and you always want to give them their credit as a person that supports poets. I appreciate their art fully.
right,
It's just I used to hear stuff and be like, oh, it just takes you to a place, and you'd be like,
yeah,
I was in a great mood, and my spirit, I was up, and I had a vibe, and then it
I get
just
it.
took the energy out the room.
It- Some people they vibrate low, but I'm gonna give you a prime example of something. But it's somebody's energy. there was a young guy on the show, one of the past shows. I forgot where he was from, but he had a sad poem, but the energy on it wasn't sad. It
Mm.
was more like it was more upbeat. The way he was, I had to really listen, and I was like, wow. I was like, damn, he really went through something or whatever. But it wasn't one of those, you know, as they reading, it was just in those final moments, like a teardrop, or like, oh, like draining your spirit. You know what I mean? Like it has you looking. You don't want to be judged for a lot of times, but it's like that. Like I can't do it. But I mean, to each his own. But I like to have some type of live poetry, some type of give hope. You know what I'm saying? You could be going through something, but still you can give others hope. You can always write. You can't tell nobody how to write, but I just know that I've written a lot of different poetry. But you can also write something that you went through something, but then at the end you got to where you wanted to go
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
that situation. Maybe some people don't know how to do that. I don't. I'm not. I'm uncertain about that, but you just have to find your outlet. You can't just have what they call sometimes Debbie Downer poetry. And I know it might sound malicious and some people may be offended, but that's exactly what it is. Don't you can't we have to all live life. We have to unite with others and not be Debbie Downers to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we have
It's
to
like
find upliftment.
I was reading something because we all know that the great poet Amiri Baraka, his birthday had just passed
Or
a couple days ago. He would have been 90 years old, and
mm,
he was talking about um, himself, Walt Whitman. It was like four or five poets who basically got in trouble for their poetry, and he was talking about this is what the poet should be able to express.
mm,
And he was talking about a level of consciousness, a level of self-awareness, a level of their view, and be provocative towards what they see going on in the world.
yeah.
So let me ask you, what would be you in your creative mind your favorite and most conscious poem?
Personally,
Yeah,
I don't really know. Maybe the one I wrote about NASA. You know what I mean? How, what I'm saying, the government just try to, throw you in a chokehold
oh, you could
with
say it.
everything that they had.
You could say the poem.
I, I gotta look for it in my phone or whatever. But yeah, but I don't. You know what? I write so much, and this is no kidding, that I don't have what I used to have when I was younger, like that memorization. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And besides that, the job that I have, like passing out medication as a healthcare worker, I have to remember a lot of things when I so my memory is like smush. You know what I mean? But it's all good though. You know what I mean? But you get one thing you gotta remember is what's more important. Which one? Memorizing your poems or memorable of the medication. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. When you work in that field, you could finish somebody. You give them the
for
wrong
me the
medication.
medication or like it's crazy because I could just look at the med book once and just know what everybody get and be right there with it. So it's a repetition. You know what I mean? Like you keep going over it all the time, and it's like you be right there with it. Oh, all right, I got it right here. Yeah, so I might have. Can I be explicit on it? Or like,
Go do your thing.
all right. This poem is called NASA. Uh, excuse my French. Anybody, if I might offend out there, niggas always survive America. Excuse my present self as I open up to the world. So what I feel and reveal, shit is real, boys and girls. I refrain from being messed up from politics and snakes. Watch the rats and the cats hire a gardener with a rake. I done seen workers turn for a shift in the dollar. Can't trust them like the news speak on men with collars. Y'all can support NASA with satellites and taking pictures. When the wrong is on, they storm is coming for dark figures. My dad ain't do shit. My uncle didn't lose it. My grandfather's indirect influence wasn't used to it. Mind over matter. Watch how the game in another way. I am more like no way when they okay and obey. So I say, oh, babe, excuse the modification on the poetry. She noticed me and knows me synchronizing who I be. Leave the world to the Karens, Jessicas, and Ericas. With the Alicias, Keishas, and Ritas, niggas always survive America. 2020 long gone. Some people lost their vision. It better be a new year, stepping up your living. And that's that piece.
Okay, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so
So that was the one where you you put the pen to paper.
yeah, it's a lot going on out here in the world. I mean, outside of the government, but I mean in our own cultural spaces. But what influenced the poem was I was in North Carolina one day, and my cousin went into the shop with his wife. So I was looking for hats and stuff. So I came across the hat that had NASA on it. And I was like, so, oh wow. So when we was outside, me, him, and his wife, she was like, why you keep laughing about the hat? And I was like, I said, no, I just thought of a poem to write. And she was like, what's that? And I was like, ends always survive America. And she was like, you're crazy. She said, I said,
Yeah,
what you saying, babe?
I mean that's what you do. You see it, and then you basically you living your life in America, and you speaking on what you see, and you got to
And
survive.
yeah, and the thing about that is she's a white woman. He's black, of course, my cousin. But that's why she was like, "Said you're crazy," but she didn't say crazy like I'm psychotic. She was just like said, started laughing, and said, "You're crazy, Joel." She said,
Yeah,
"I said,
yeah.
she said, I want to hear that poem when you write it later on." I was like, "All right." So it's
So
just freedom of speech.
so I know recently, you started a new project called Poetry's Paradise.
Yes, poetry's paradise. That's that we had the first episode already. That's basically for authors, I mean, of poetry to come on the show and support themselves, and let's all join together in unification. I want them to be able to support themselves by expressing what they got going on through social media, and that's what the platform is about. Unlike Poetry Corner, this one is for the authors of poetry. If they have a few things going on, come through. You know what I mean? And I'll schedule you out for a show. But that's what it's about. It's about that support, that strong unification. You don't
So
have that too much in the community.
what is the similarities and differences from Poetry's Paradise to Poetry Corner?
It's not like there's going to be a cipher on it. It's just one or two people who I'm speaking to, asking questions, how they feel about poetry, and where they see it's going, and do they plan on writing any more poetry books? And just asking the questions like, what is your standard use of getting your project done? Your book. I mean, I know I'm working on three more right now, so I'm in a zone. I mean, so that's the
One
difference.
of the
And
things
it's not
that
like it's a cipher on there. Before the poetry corner had ciphers, and we all was just jumping in and out and stuff. But no, this is just uh, a support team, support system.
let me ask you about the Poetry Corner, because I know that was your first, like, one of your first pet projects outside of the author. What is your view today on how the Poetry Corner went, pros, cons, stuff like that?
Um, if I can go back in time, there's a couple of things I wouldn't have like a full crowd like that. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things. I just try to. I'm just gonna throw this out there. You throw a lifeline to people sometimes, right? But I'm just being honest. Anybody that know me out there, they know I'm speaking my honesty. People don't tend to reciprocate. I've seen that through the course since since the show ended, that people got kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like they act like you ain't never do a favor to them. We had a full lineup. I would squeeze people in, but you live and you learn. I
Do
say
you
it like
think?
that.
I'm gonna ask you. Do you think Poetry Corner was like a springboard for a lot of other people to do their own thing? Because in the process of Poetry Corner, we saw how
Yeah,
IG opened up a little bit different when it comes to them going live.
yeah,
Clubhouse jumped on the scene.
yeah.
Twitter
It had.
Spaces jumped on the scene. So you've seen a lot of people that came through Poetry Corner branch off and start doing your thing. So do you feel like you helped them put the fertilizer out there, like yo, that you can do the same type of thing and
Right.
format?
I planted the seed. You know what I'm saying? The seed was planted. You know what I'm saying? It grew. You know what I'm saying? Look, a lot of shows don't even last that long. You know what I'm saying? That was 3 years. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you've seen a lot of them, I ain't gonna say bite, but emulate what Corner had going on. You know what I
Do
mean?
you
But
ever think you ever go back and look at some of the old shows and be like, yo, where was this piece said? I know, like when we used to do certain things, it might pop up on your Facebook memory, and
yeah,
you'd be looking at it, and you'd be like, yo, this night was crazy. I forgot all about this. Like
I
this was going
do.
on. Like because I was reminded the other day about a show and a poet that had came through that was from another country, and it's just deep when you say that you appreciates everybody's freedom of expression.
Yeah,
But then when you tell other people, like, you got to understand, like, different areas, people express themselves different, and
yeah,
people just view things a little bit different. You got to respect and understand people for their differences. But sometimes, like, that's the thing that's not reciprocal. People just look at you and be like, "Oh, I want you to be one way because I'm that way." No, no, no. Everybody's unique in their own special way,
that's
and
true.
they should be treated that way.
That's true, and that's what I said. You know what I'm saying? You got to have respect for others along with having respect for yourself. You know, dignity and pride and all the other things that go together. You know, that's why I said, I try to suggest to people, if you're passionate about what you like to do, never let anyone get in the way of doing what you do. Because I've been asked many times, like, how do you write all the books and stuff like that? And I'm like, if you're passionate about poetry, and this is me, I never get writer's block. Anything could be inspiration. You know what I'm saying? You walk out in the world. Like I said, I do healthcare, so I hear people talking, the residents and stuff. So my mind always in activation mode. I like listening to music too and lo-fi sounds and stuff like that. So that's how I write my poetry. I don't really care for prompts because I give myself prompts to write about. I listen to sound, I throw a title in the air, and then I start working on the poem.
So with
Me hearing a prompt,
I
huh?
remember we had talked about that with the a lot of the poets because of the format that we did with Poetry Corner. A lot of the poets needed music, and because of the different platforms, you can't play
Oh
music on some and you can't play others.
yeah,
How did that experience with seeing dope poets
yeah.
come through and they might need the music to go into their zone, or because it wasn't no music, you'll be like, oh, I could really hear the bars you spitting because the music might. How is that give or take? Understanding that the music can play a good and a bad part for
Um,
a particular poet.
everybody, everybody's different. So my perception, some of it was just kind of like I feel like sometimes the music got in the way of hearing the poetry because the music probably wasn't clear, so maybe it was a little choppy. So it's just like, well, maybe you shouldn't use music, but sometimes that's somebody else's artistic freedom. So, but me personally, I'd rather just have my poetry laid out, like, you know. I don't need no music. And when I want a person to hear me and hear the expression of the poetry, so you can put a cadence on anything and a flow and a feeling and an emotion and expression on your poetry. But some people like music. But I'm saying if you're gonna use music, you should make sure that it's sharp. You know what I mean? Like so have a lot of clarity to it to coincide with your recital. You know what I mean? But I mean
Well,
I say to each his own. You know what I mean?
I know you was doing poetry corner, epiphany. What
Yeah,
as someone who is not just a poet, but someone who has to be a host, talk about commitment and the challenges facing with okay, I'm a poet as well as I'm a host. I need you to be committed, but you want people to hear your stuff. It's like you want to be out there, you want to get known, but you're
yeah,
not committed to talk about that and explain some of that, like a trial by error and learning from other people's mistakes as an artist and as a host.
right. That's why this time around on Poetry's Paradise, I won't be reciting anything. It's all about the guests that's coming on the show. Y'all get busy and do your 1, 2 thing. You know what I mean? I'm gonna stay in my lane as the host and just now if they ask me to spit a piece because they know me, I'll spit a piece. But as far as this is about y'all. When I still do Epiphany, King and Queen's Quarters on Mondays at 9 o'clock. So, you
Shout out to
know,
the brothers and sisters at Epiphany.
for real, what's up? You know what I mean? My co-host, La Perla Negra, Ms. VIP, um, Poe. You know, we do the poetry, they call in, and if it's not that many callers, you know what I mean, then me and the co-host, we'll just go back and forth with the poetry. Because at the end of the day, the show must go on. We got poetry for days. Now somebody else might go, oh, it ain't no callers, like what are we gonna do? The show must go on. That's the commitment right there. What are we gonna say? Let's cut the show short. Callers be like,
Do
yo,
you feel like do you feel like whether it's one person listening or 1,000 people listening and watching, because we used to talk about this with the poetry corner where we'll get a lot of views, sometimes it'd be a little bit of views. Do you feel like you have to connect with that one person that may be watching? Like with the poetry corner, people can go back into the archives and still catch the episodes, and hopefully they still
yeah,
do.
right,
But do you feel like you have to have that connection every week to be like, you know what, the show must go on. I got to do this because somebody, no matter where, is going to listen or listen back to a playback.
true, yes. And plus, I do a lot of promotion anyway for the show. I create my flyers, I put it out on social media. I got videos, video promotion. So to have people come and check the playback, and I'll put a link there so they can go back to the show and check it out. They have shows every Friday. I mean, not every Friday, excuse me, every day of the week. So my thing is, my responsibility is to my Monday night show. Do my thing. If we don't get that many callers, might got some views, people viewed it online, but I'm still gonna shoot a link out there for the playback. You know what I mean? So that's how that operation is online. Now I still even promote Poetry Corner, you know what I'm saying? Shooting a link, I tell people around town, I'm like, yo, scan the joint. You know what I'm saying? Like check out the joint. He's like, yo, you bringing it back? I was like, nah. I said we got the new joint come Poetry's Paradise. It was like, oh word? Yo, that shit sound fly. I'm like, yeah. So whatever I'm dedicated to, I'm always right there. You know what I mean? No excuses like, yo, oh, I'm sorry. If you ask me to do something and I say, yo, I got you, I'm gonna show up. You know what I
So
mean?
what?
Unless I'm
So
sick.
let
You
me
know what I mean?
so let me ask you one last question. When can I catch the next episode for Poetry's Paradise?
Hey, you better lock in. Matter of fact, it might be coming this week. You know what I mean?
Why
This week.
we
Just
gonna be
stay
looking?
tuned. People can check me out. King Atterberry Inc. on TikTok, and even on Instagram, King Atterberry Inc. with JW Atterberry. and I'm always posting. I mean,
Okay, we're
so
gonna be looking forward to it. Anything else you want to leave us with?
yeah, as an author and poet, anybody out there that want to orchestrate and manifest their books, never let anybody hold you back, because I know I've heard a lot of people say they sit back with their poems and stuff like that. And they be like, I was thinking about writing a book. If you feel that way, get it published. You know what I'm saying? If you need assistance at alley oop on how to get things done, just contact me. You know what I'm saying? You see what the King Atterberry ink is right there. You can contact me through TikTok, Instagram. I'll be glad to help you out. You know what I'm saying? To show you the way, the same way it was shown to me. You know, I'm all about giving back. So, yeah,
Great,
so
great.
that's
All
it.
right. Until then, we holler.
All right, no doubt, y'all. Peace.
All right.